How are you doing? This is Martin from Gardens for Life. In this video I'm going to show you how to plant your own mushrooms in your garden. These ones that we planted were actually planted in May last year in 2019 when we set up this garden behind me here. That's the woodchip island, and it's actually, you have to use fresh wood chips for this to work, otherwise it won't work, and especially with if you're doing mushroom logs or planting them in wood chips, you must use fresh wood chips, at the most a month old, but even better just a few days or a week old. And we'll show you how we planted them and also how we are harvesting the mushrooms. I have to admit, the garden caught us by surprise once again, but in a positive way, because there's actually a lot of mushrooms growing here that we didn't spot on time. So they kind of went beyond harvestability, and yeah, so there was a good flush of mushrooms. We'd been waiting for them for a year, and now we're sure that it's actually King Stropharia or Winecap or garden giant. So those are the names for the mushroom that we planted, and I'll show you this one now. It's a very good culinary mushroom, and you can harvest it several times a year, I believe, and year after year it'll grow. Once you replenish the wood chips, it'll actually eat them up and actually make them available to the plants in the form of minerals, for example, and carbon. And the King Stropharia or the winecap mushroom also is a mushroom that actually is a symbiotic mushroom that connects to the plant's roots and extends them and makes minerals and other nutrients available to the plant. So in return for some sugar that the plant produces in its photosynthesis. Today our mushroom spawn has arrived in the post, which we're going to use to inoculate our new garden. All these wood chips here in the background. So here's the unboxing. This is the mushroom spawn. It's 2.5 kilos of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, unpack it, and I'm going to just crumble a little bit of it into each hole that I'm going to make in these wood chips here. So here are 3 tips for growing your own culinary mushrooms at home in your garden. Tip number 1 is to always use fresh wood. In particular, hardwood is very good for most species of mushroom anyway, and maximum 30 days old is very important, and it's after felling a tree. So it needs to be as fresh a wood as possible when you're inoculating it, and that includes wood chips too. Tip number 2, always keep your mushroom spawn watered, especially during the phase of establishment. Just make sure it doesn't dry out. Basically, you water the wood chips where you've planted them. And tip number 3 is to have patience. You won't see mushrooms for the first 6 months, and although it can happen, but usually it takes about 6 months to a year for the first mushrooms to appear, and you're going to get flushes of mushrooms here and there depending on the environmental conditions. That's the temperature and the level of moisture we're talking about, and yeah, so just have patience with them and they'll pop up eventually. So this is the grow medium. We're hoping that the mushroom Mycelium will take over these wood chips in time and eat them up basically and produce mushrooms for us. So here is a little bit of an area that I've cleared to plant a few Jerusalem artichokes. So I've just taken away and I brushed aside the wood chips here, and here you can see that's the thickness of the layer we're talking about. And the wood chips are about 4 to 6 inches in thickness. Now that's all of the compost underneath loosened up. So we'll just take some of this mycelium, or spawn I should say, and just sprinkle it here. Just a few bits and pieces. If there's any big lumps in it, you can always break them up with your hands afterwards. Now, so that's all I'm going to put here. A little bit more. Oh, that's all we need here. Now you could just water that in and use the wood chips like that. Just close it again with them. Or you could plant a few bits and pieces here. That's what I'm going to do, because this is a new garden anyway. I'm going to be planting a whole lot more, and I might as well just add in the Winecap as I go instead of planting it separately. So what I'm going to do is just plant all these here, and I'm going to close off the wood chips after that, and hopefully everything will grow. One thing you can do if you don't have any compost, but you do have wood chips, well, you do have to have the wood chips to grow these mushrooms. You can put down cardboard and just take one layer off so that you have the sort of corrugated side upwards, and you can put down the spawn on that and put the wood chips on top, and just water it in before you do put the wood chips down. Anyway, that's all there is to it for now, and we'll see if these Winecap mushrooms will actually grow now. So we planted, well, I can't really say planted, we mushroomed the mushroom spawns in different places on this little woodchip island garden, and here's another place where it actually has flushed, as you can see. Pretty nice. So we'll actually take a picture of that before we tear them up. Here's more of them, look at it. Let me just take one of those. As you can see, the wildlife seems to like it too. Yeah, you can see there, that's definitely King Stropharia. And you can see, you'll find, if you dig down into the ground, you'll find the Mycelium. Here, watch this. Look at that, even 1 inch down, there's the Mycelium, which is actually the root network of the mushroom. And you can see it's kind of like strands. You'll find that the Mycelium will have spread underground in this entire garden. Even though we only planted it in about probably 8 or 10 different spots. And you'll find that if we go digging elsewhere, let's see, just as a matter of interest, we might not find any Mycelium here, but well, hopefully we do, but no, it hasn't got to here. As you can see, it might be a bit down, a bit lower, but you can tell there is no Mycelium here. So it's still spreading, but ideally you'd want to cover the ground with it when you're putting the mushroom, or when you're putting the compost on, and then the wood chips. You can see here, even if you go over here, you can tell it's here straight away. So that was a successful grow. We have baby Jacob here. Now we'll just take it by the stem very carefully and just pull it up.
And take it.
And we can bring it home for cooking. Probably gonna saute it or fry it in the frying pan. You can try it.
You find the stalk.
Pick it up. Pick it up by the stalk. There you go. You've picked your first mushroom. Good man. You like smelling the stem?
Wow.
Nice. We can't wait to give these a try. No. Look at that.
Oi.
There's another one. 2 more. Oh, here we have a bit of a harvest now. Although some of them are a bit far gone, but they're still good to eat. You can tell if it's King Stropharia, of course, by the shape and the colour, but also by the stems, and also the fact that they have a ring around the stem, which you can kind of see here. Also, they have these gills on the bottom end, on the bottom side, and they look sort of grey. Now, we're not experts on mushrooms, but we know we planted these here. These ones have gone a bit too far, we won't harvest them. And here you can see some that have just about gone too far. You can tell that they've curled up the cap on top, so there's no point in harvesting them. So hopefully we'll get a couple more flushes of mushrooms or Winecap mushrooms from this woodchip island garden this September. And you do have to keep an eye on them though, because mushrooms actually grow so quickly. They grow in about a day or two, but then again they're gone off in about a day or two as well. So you do have to keep an eye on them on a daily basis, more or less, if you're walking around the garden just keep looking around, especially in the shaded places and those places that kind of receive less light, because mushrooms don't need light to grow. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please give us a quick thumbs up, and we would really appreciate that. Give us a follow as well if you want to see more, and we will be live tomorrow night at 6:30, and we will talk about the pizza garden, which you can see here behind me. Basically, no dig lasagna gardening is the main topic of our first live podcast, or broadcast I should say. We're going to be live on YouTube and on Facebook as well, and we'll give you a few updates on what's going on as well. Hopefully we'll turn this into a weekly thing, or maybe bi-weekly. We'll see how we get on, and bear with us on the first one tomorrow. So 6:30 tomorrow. Join us on YouTube or on our website, gardenforlife.ie, or on Facebook if you like. Thanks for watching. Again, bye bye.